So today's webinar is one we've been looking forward to doing. In a moment, I'm going to introduce Dr. Scott Munsterman, who's going to share with you utilizing iPatientCare. But before I do, I just want to say this. Our company, Cash Practice, has had the opportunity to work with many EHRs and over the years, many different ones. And we get to see the products, so we get the real intimate familiarity with the different EHRs that are out there. We can quickly see how great they are versus maybe not so great by comparing them to each other. And I will tell you, you're in for a real treat when you look at iPatientCare. It's a great product. It's actually designed specifically for much larger organizations. In fact, I understand they have hundreds of thousands of clients. They are a massive company. It's not like a small, little EHR that's serving just chiropractic. They serve a much broader audience. And so if you're in a practice that is multidisciplinary, or you do much more than just chiropractic by itself, specifically your practice would really benefit from taking a look at their product, and we'll show you how the integration works, but we're also going to talk about some of the benefits of each of our products as well. And I'll just mention that you're in for a real treat here. Dr. Munsterman's an expert in this field, and I'm looking forward to introducing him. Dr. Scott, why don't you go ahead and turn on your camera and turn on your mic there. Welcome. So Dr. Scott, I'll let you take it away and give everybody a quick rundown, and not quick, but just do your rundown thing, and then I'll take over from there.
Sounds good, Dr. Miles. Thank you. And we'll get the rundown done and get started. So great to be with everybody here today. And I'm excited to be able to share what's really been a labor of love for myself and my team. And that's when we became acquainted with iPatientCare. That all actually came about 6 or 7 years ago. And what we were doing was we had about 25 practices that we were bringing up to speed in what's called the NCQA program for quality assurance. And they have a number of different recognition programs, but long story short, there were probably 4 or 5 different EHR systems represented amongst this group of 25 practices. And there were so many manual processes that had to get into play for them to reach an accreditation process. We eventually got there, but it was quite an experience. And it was shortly after that we became connected with iPatientCare. It's a robust electronic medical records system, and it has over 100,000 users, as Dr. Miles alluded to earlier. It works on any platform, PC, Mac. It's integrated, multidisciplinary capacity. We're going to talk a bit about that. And then you can also bake in compliance features, and that's one of the things that we appreciate as much as anything about this system, is that it's customizable. And coming from a compliance background, that becomes very important for us. And then also the cloud technology and the capabilities that it does have. Now, it has unlimited scalability and capacity. And what do we mean by that? Well, it's able to meet the needs of any growing enterprise or any growing business, because it literally has that unlimited capacity, such as in the scheduler and in the types of notes that you can create within the system, and the capacity of being able to customize those notes. And it is, as I mentioned, an electronic medical record. It's already in complex healthcare settings, such as hospital settings and medical clinic settings all across the world. And so what we've been able to do with this is to be able to bring it into the outpatient care settings that we are all very familiar with. As I mentioned earlier, customizable note design for all different types of provider types. And so when we look at this, when we bring new clients on, we many times there are multi-disciplinary providers, different provider types, or larger group practices. Well, we learn about what types of services are provided, and then we're able to do the research at customizing, okay, what are the compliance needs for those particular types of services, and how should that note structure be built? And then in addition to that, we're able to customize the note to the point where we can embed procedure coding into the correct documentation that the note would have, which also helps speed up and create efficiency, as well as reducing error rates among clinicians who are not coders for the most part. And so it's a very well-oiled machine and integrated machine. One of the neat features of this, by the way, is the dashboard. And this is a central hub for providers and for staff to be able to see what's going on within the practice, whether, who's scheduled to come in, who's in office, where are they at in office. And then for the providers themselves, the doctors themselves, they have a running tab of those records that they need to complete, patients that they've seen. And so it gives a very good, right at your finger touch idea of exactly where you're at within the practice, within your note-taking system. There is also an iPad or iEHR feature that works on the Apple iPad as well as Android and smartphone functionality, which comes in very handy at times. And then finally, as I mentioned earlier about the coding side of it, there's a good integration of the documentation and the coding that can be customized. But then as that documentation is complete and those records are complete, then that is passed on to the billing side, in which there are editing features within the revenue cycle side of the software system. And this is probably the most exciting for Dr. Miles and Holly, because our relationship together really brought us to the culmination of this point that we're just excited to bring you today. And so with that, Dr. Miles, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to you.
Well, before you go anywhere, I have some follow-up questions, if I may, and that is this. I'm a chiropractor like yourself, and if I was in practice, as soon as you mentioned this was built for hospitals and stuff, I'm immediately thinking, this is going to cost a fortune for me to use in my practice. Now, I understand you went to iPatientCare, and they weren't in the small doctor practice. They weren't serving chiropractors, but you went to them through your relationship, and you were able to negotiate with them and actually create a model where they're now offering this platform that probably costs hospitals. I don't know the number, but I'm going to guess it's tens of thousands of dollars a year for them to use this in a hospital. I know we're not trying to pitch and sell it at this very moment per se, but I'm just curious, if I was buying this as a chiropractor, it's not going to cost me that, right?
No, that's correct. And so we have a couple of different pricing models. One is for chiropractic only practice. So we were able to get the pricing down for the chiropractic practice. And then we have just a slightly higher pricing model for a multidisciplinary practice, because there's more moving parts.
Right.
But to your point, Dr. Miles, yes, we were able to bring that down significantly. iPatientCare has just been a fantastic partner for us.
They are. From a technical standpoint, they've been fantastic to work with as well.
Yeah.
Let me ask another follow-up question, and that is, and just to clarify, you don't have to say the pricing right now, but I'm going to guess it's comparable to what people could get another EHRs out there in the chiropractic space.
Correct.
And what you're getting is a platform that is really hospital level quality. That's enterprise level software, which for those of you who are not familiar with the pricing of enterprise software, enterprise level software is usually costing companies 20, 30. There's companies that spend 100,000 a year for that kind of level of product. The next thing I'll mention is, being that it's designed for that environment, now bringing it down to the small practice, is there anything about it that makes it too difficult to use for the local single office practice, like the CA sitting at the front desk or the doctor in the back, doing their, does it work for the chiropractic office? You get what I'm saying? It's not like overkill. Let me just ask that in a generic sense. You don't have to go into detail, but just kind of in a generic sense.
Yeah, well, when you talk about overkill for a smaller office, there is some of that, but it's very easy to migrate past that.
Okay.
And for instance, we are in the second version, 2.0 version right now, soon to move to the 3.0 version, which actually takes that overkill overlay a step further away from it. And so it very much simplifies it. And so iPatientCare, again, they've been a fantastic partner. They've listened to us very intently over the last several years as they've made these changes. To your point, how can they continue to customize it for those outpatient settings that we are very familiar with, as we talked about. So yes, very much so, easy to move around within the smaller practices.
I know if I was an attendee of the webinar and I was just attending this as someone learning about it, these are the questions I would be having as just a chiropractor saying, is this going to work at a chiropractic clinic when there's all these other programs out there? I will say this as well, and that is, as I've worked with them from the technology standpoint, they've been a fantastic group of people to work with from the standpoint. You could tell their support is amazing. The account managers we work with have been amazing, and their technology people have been amazing. So it says a lot. So with that being said, we're gonna switch gears now. I'm gonna share with you, for those of you who are on right now who may be using iPatientCare, but you're not familiar with cash practice, I'm going to just take a moment now and do the same thing. I'm going to share with you a little bit about the benefits of the specific tools that are integrated with iPatientCare. And then once I complete that part, we're going to turn it back to Holly, who's actually going to demonstrate for you the integration. So you can see how these two systems work together to help you run a more smooth practice in your office. So and by the way, I also want to mention one more thing, and that is, as Holly and I go around and meet with our clients, and we've been doing this like for years, and so we know the different type of practices that we serve as cash practice. And we have clients who do multidisciplinary. We have practices that do multi-location, and everything from a single doctor working for themselves. And those practices that are multi-location, multidisciplinary, they have a nurse practitioner or whatever in their practice. These practices are really the ones that I think, not that anybody couldn't do it, but those practices are always, they come to us all the time, like, what do we use? Like, what we're currently using isn't working for that model when we start bringing in these other providers. So we're really excited for you guys to have this as an option. So that being said, let me share my screen. There we go. Move this over here. And I will also go through some stuff here. So I'm going to share a little bit with you about some of the concepts of cash practice, and we'll keep this brief. Some of you know this already, and some of you may not know this, but let me just share this with you, that one of the things we do at Cash Practice is help you make your payment processing frictionless. And what does that mean? It makes it very easy for your patient. Like I was asking Dr. Scott just now about how easy it is to use iPatientCare in the chiropractic office when it's a very robust program, because we want things to be easy. And when it comes to payment processing, the same thing. You want it to be really easy. We've identified that the more often a patient thinks about paying for care in your office, the less frequent they're going to see you. And we know in the chiropractic world, there's a need for people to follow through with their treatment plans. So we find that making payments very frictionless is a key component to that. So most of what I'm going to share with you today is how we do that. So we say the more friction there is when paying, the lower the retention. So if you want better follow through with your patients, better compliance, so that you're taking care of these people and getting better clinical outcomes, we want to make sure that that treatment plan or that payment processing experience is a frictionless experience. Sources of payment friction you may be experiencing in your practice right now is, for example, people stopping at the front desk to make a payment. That's a source of friction. Or having to manually give you their credit card each time they come in, and it's not an automated process. That's a source of friction. Or the backup at the front desk where people are just waiting in line to check out. That's a source of friction. Or you sending them statements in the mail and then, expecting to make getting a bill basically, and they have to pay it with a check, or even if it's online, but the fact that you're reminding them and they physically have to do it manually, that's a source of friction that you want to eliminate in the practice. Or the whole scenario where someone comes to the office and I forgot my wallet scenario, right? They don't have the form of payment and they don't have a way of paying you at that moment versus having something automated. This is a source of friction in the practice. And it leads to often practices always looking and chasing money. In fact, what we often see is that when practices aren't doing frictionless payments, what they see is that they're waiting for the checks to arrive in the mail. Like I remember this 25 years ago in my early days, waiting for the insurance check to show up in the mail before we kind of learned some of these systems back in the day, and you're waiting for that payment to arrive. When it comes to frictionless payments, we want to make it as easy as possible. So let me just give you a little background here. What you see on the screen here is on the far left here, you'll see this is a document that basically shows that we have a digital signature, which is being represented on the video on the right there, where we capture a digital signature authorizing us to automatically debit a patient's credit card. So it's one thing to have a recurring payment. It's a whole nother thing to actually have a document that's been digitally signed, giving you permission to automatically debit that card. So there's the two components of it. There's the mechanics of actually doing the auto debit, but then there's also the documentation that gives you permission to get the auto debit. So we have that documentation as well as a way to capture that digital signature, as well as when we see just a sales receipt for a one-time payment, we can capture that digital signature. So imagine at the front desk, instead of you having someone having to do a physical process, of them, physically signing something, you get a digital signature at that time. In addition, there's other ways we capture that signature as well. Another way we do this is online payments. So you might have where you need to capture a payment online, where doctors, you need to have a link on your website for someone to make a payment, or you want to send the patient an email with a link to make a payment. In essence, you need to give them an easy way of doing that. There's an example where we send them an online payment form to securely make that payment online. Automated payments. This is a big one. And those of you who are not cash practice clients on right now, you may not be aware of, or maybe you're not doing this. Most of our clients are already doing this, and that is you have a patient leave their billing on file and you automatically process their payment, whether it's an automated recurring payment that just happens on a schedule, or whether it's a one-time payment you need to automatically charge. And what you see on the image there is, waking up in the morning, having your cup of coffee, checking your email, and your email shows you collected $1,200 last night when you went to sleep. And that's a beautiful way of having a business, is that every night when you go to bed, there's payments processing for you every single night. So your practice has always got revenue coming in. So that's your automated payments. Now, I mentioned the digital signatures, where we capture that digital signature, not just on the recurring payments, not on the one-time payments, but we also capture their digital signature where we want, in a way that we can automatically charge the one-time payments. So what I mean is that's a signature on file. So we sign an authorization form digitally that gives you permission to debit their credit card each time they come in. Like I said, we want to capture this digitally, so we're working in a paperless environment. Another thing about recurring payments or automated payments is we need to be able to store the card on file. So we've stored the billing on file, and then when we go to run a payment, this slide here is just showing you that what's highlighted there is I'm choosing a card on file to run a one-time payment. What you see in front of you here is a tool called our virtual terminal. This is for running one-time payments. This tool will be accessible from iPatientCare. So Holly will demonstrate this for you when you're in iPatientCare and you have that situation where someone's in the office and they need to pay for a service, or they need to pay for a product, and it's a one-time thing. This is what you would do, is you'd pull up their card on file and run that payment. And you'll see on this screen on the left, the receipt shows signature on file. So what I was mentioning is we captured this person's signature on file that basically says, anytime you run my payment, I've given you permission to do that. In essence, is what it means. So again, it's one thing to have the permission, the technology to do it. It's another to have a signed document from the patient giving you actually permission to do so. So what you see on here on the right side is this easy pay authorization form. So we've captured their digital signature saying, hey, I as a patient, they've granted me permission to debit their card up to $200 in this example, each time you run a transaction. And off to the left here, you see, okay, well, we ran this credit card for this patient, $35, and the signature was already on file. So the CA, the assistant at the front desk, already knows they have a signature on file for this patient. They don't have to remember that. The software communicates that to the person. But you see right here, the benefit of that is you've eliminated having to ask the patient for the payment. It's just an automatic process. One more feature I'll point out, and that is the ability to have what's called a split payment. So what a split payment is, whether you do this for one-time payments or your recurring payments, you could split a payment among family members. So for example, let's say you have a mom, a dad, and a kid, or a husband and a wife, and they're coming in together and they need to pay for their services together. And in this case, it came to $170 for all of the services. But it was $60 for Dwayne and $60 for Angela and another $50 for Carlos. And what we do, the benefit of doing this, it still just does a one-time payment of $170. It's not 3 separate transactions, it's one transaction. But when it posts this payment into the iPatientCare EHR, when it posts it to the EHR, it's going to post $60 to Dwayne's ledger. It's going to post $60 to Angela's ledger, and it's going to post $50 to Carlos's ledger. So it saves a tremendous amount of time when you're posting your payments to the patient's EHR ledger, because you've already split it here and it automatically posts it correctly in that scenario. So that's a super, it creates a lot of efficiency when you're running these payments that are for more than one person. I'm going to turn it over to Holly now. Let me stop sharing here. And at this point, when Holly takes over here, what Holly's going to do is going to demonstrate for you some of the features I just showed you, but literally how it's integrated within the EHR platform. So when you're using iPatientCare, you get all the bells and whistles of using the iPatientCare application. You're also getting the benefits of using Cash Practice's automated payment features. And when you merge the two, it really becomes a really powerful tool. Holly, let me turn it over to you and share with everybody that integration process.
All right, from the dashboard, I'm going to go ahead and I have my scheduled patient who is checking in and I need to collect a payment from them. So I'm going to mark them as arrived, and under collected, I'll click the red pending button. This is going to open up the payment portion. I'll enter in the amount of the payment I want to collect from the credit card and click on the credit card button. When I say yes, this is going to open up the Cash Practice integration, and here we see the virtual terminal. So I'll use this to use a card on file or swipe the card, or I can manually enter a card, which I'll do in this example. So I'm going to add a new card in, and I'll put in a test card. Now this is a fake credit card that you can use while your account is in test mode for training purposes. This isn't a real card, so don't try to use it to purchase anything in real life. And we see I'm going to save this card to the billing vault to use in the future. I'll set this as the default card and then process the payment. Here we see I have a receipt. I'm going to use the optional digital signature device to have the patient digitally sign the receipt, which will store on file in their billing history. And I can go ahead and print this off by clicking on the logo and sending it to the printer, but the patient will be emailed a receipt as long as they have an email address on file. And that's how easy it is to process a one-time payment within iPatientCare using the cash practice integration for payments when patients are checking in. All right, from the checkout screen, we're going to go ahead and begin the checkout. Under collected, click the red pending button, and this will open up the opportunity for us to collect a credit card payment. So I'm going to add in payment, hit the credit card button. This is going to open up the cash practice integration here for the virtual terminal, and this is the tool that we use to process a one-time payment. We can use a card on file, swipe the card with an optional card reader, or enter in new billing information. So I'm going to go ahead and use the patient card on file, and I'll process the card. This is going to produce a receipt when the card is accepted, and this receipt, I am going to go ahead and use our optional digital signature device to collect the patient's signature. This will be emailed to the patient. I can also click on the logo at the top to print this off. I'm going to add another layer, the new EasyPay SOF. This allows me to keep the patient's signature on file, and the patient is authorizing me to charge their card up to $200 without needing a signature. So I'm going to go ahead and generate the EasyPay authorization form. I'm going to use our optional digital signature device to have the patient sign, acknowledging and pre-authorizing me to charge the card on file without needing a signature every time. Once that's saved, I can print a copy of this out to give to the patient. I also have the button to cancel this signature on file authorization if the patient chooses to do so. And that's how easy it is to collect a one-time payment on checkout using the cash practice integration. When collecting a payment from a patient who already has their signature stored on file, we make it really easy to create a frictionless payment experience in your practice. So in this example, I'm collecting a payment from a patient who has not only their card on file, but we can see they have their signature on file, so they don't have to sign a receipt. Furthermore, I can see for this card on file, they've authorized me to collect up to $200 pre-authorized without needing a new signature. And we can see here on the receipt, it shows signature on file. We could view their signature on file authorization form, which I'm going to do here, and we can see that card is authorized for up to $200. We can print this out, but depending on their settings, it'll also email them a copy of their receipt. And that is the beauty of having signatures on file. In this example, I need to collect a patient payment who has no appointment. So under billing, I'll go to payment and payment list. And from the payment list screen, I'm going to click on this icon here for patient payments. Next, I'm going to go ahead and search for the patient that I need to collect payment from. I'm going to enter in the amount that I'm going to collect on their credit card. And I'll click the credit card icon, and I'll say yes. This will now open up the cash practice integration so that I can process a one-time payment. So I can use the patient's card on file, or I can swipe the card with a card swiper. You see in this example, I do have the patient's card on file, and I'm able to use that card on file, and I'm going to go ahead and process that payment. On the next screen, we're going to go ahead and see that we have a receipt. I used an optional digital signature device to collect the patient's signature, and I can also print that out if I needed to. But that's how you process a one-time payment for a patient who doesn't have an appointment. All right, I'm going to schedule recurring auto debit. From billing, I'm going to go to patient account and patient account list. And I already have my patient chosen, but I'm going to go ahead and click on the recurring icon here. And this is going to open up the cash practice integration with the auto debit scheduler. Here I'm going to enter in the number of payments, the amount of each payment, the start date of when the payment cycle will begin, and then select the frequency. And you see I have a lot of options here. So I'm going to schedule this once a month for the next 5 months. I'm going to use the card that the patient has on file, or I could swipe the card or enter in new billing information should I need to. I can also split this payment between linked family members. And I'll go ahead and schedule the auto debit. And this is going to produce a payment authorization form for the schedule of recurring payments. I'll use the optional digital signature device to collect signature from the patient. And then we can see here the payment schedule. These payments will automatically process on those dates. I'll click on the print logo at the top and give the patient a copy for their records. But other than that, it's all good to go. This is the secure payment link that patients will see in the patient portal. They'll go ahead and put in their own billing credentials, which I'll do here in this test. Now I am using a fake credit card, so you can't really use this fake credit card except for when your account is in test mode. This uses the one-time payment feature secure online payment form within Cash Practice. And you can see our patient, they just submitted their payment. They're confirming the information and they get a receipt when they process their payment, which they can print off. And then this payment will auto post into their iPatientCare patient ledger. Now, once the payment's made, in addition to it being posted to the ledger in Cash Practice, it'll show up on your payment reports. So we can see here that $55 payment's been made, and we can see they used the online payment form in order to pay that balance due. To avoid or refund a patient payment in iPatientCare, go to Billing, Payment list, and you're going to locate the transaction that you need to void or refund and click on this little pencil icon here. This will allow you to then click on the void refunder button, which will open up the Cash Practice integration for that original transaction. You'll see it says void if the transaction was collected today. If the transaction was collected on a different date, it'll say refund. You'll go ahead and process that void or refund, and it will produce a receipt, which will be auto emailed to the patient if they have an email on file. You can click on the logo to send the receipt to the printer, but that's how easy it is to process a void or refund within iPatientCare. From Cash Practice, we're going to look at our posted payments report. And on this report for this date of activity, we can see all transactions processed directly within iPatientCare using the virtual terminal, a scheduled recurring payment that processed, or a payment made using the patient portal online form. We can print this report out. There's a variety of different reports you can print, but this will match up to payments posted directly in iPatientCare. Within the patient's iPatientCare account, when I open up their account records, I can go ahead and click on the Open Cash Practice account icon. This will pull up their patient record within Cash Practice. In here, under the Auto Debit System tab, we can see all of the scheduled recurring payments that are going to take place. We can edit the auto debit from here. We can stop or pause the auto debit. We can email out a billing update form or view any signed authorization forms for their scheduled payments. We also have access to their billing history, which will show every payment ever processed within iPatientCare and Cash Practice. Furthermore, we have access to the patient's billing vault. This is where we would see any cards that they have stored on file, and they can have multiple cards stored on file. From this area, we can also check to see if they have a signature on file. This will pre-authorize us to charge their card on file without needing a signed receipt. In this example, they're going to authorize us to charge their card on file for up to $200. I'll use the optional digital signature device to collect the patient's permission. And then from here, I'm going to go ahead and print this authorization form and give them a copy. I can also cancel their signature on file authorization if I need to. But once I close this page will refresh, and I can see now that we do have their signature on file pre-authorized to charge them up to $200 per individual transaction. Under the More button, I can archive, I can create new authorization forms, etc. If I want to add a new billing, I would click the Add New button and choose the card type. And it's just that easy. This is how you access all of the information within iPatientCare connected to your Cash Practice account. All right, I'll turn it back over to you, Dr. Bodson.
Thank you, Holly. That was great. I really watched you. By the way, you did a great job doing that presentation. So thank you for that. It was very clear, concise, and I'm pretty sure everybody got the true benefit of that. I want to clarify. I want to emphasize one thing. One of the things you brought up was the auto debit. And I just want to clarify for everybody, when you do the scheduling of recurring payments, that is a game changer for your practice if you're not doing that. And all of that stuff is automatically being processed and then automatically being posted to your iPatientCare. So really, what you're really getting out of this marriage of these two products together is you're getting all of the benefits that Cash Practice brings, and you're getting the tremendous value that you're getting and benefits you're getting out of the iPatientCare application. And when you merge them two, it really makes the office run so smooth and so easy. As we kind of finish up here and wrap up, and I'm not sure if any questions came in, but I just want to share a couple things right at the end here. Let me go back to my screen. And that is, when you join Cash Practice and you use iPatientCare, you just saw some great training there. So I want you to be aware that when you use us, and I know this is true when you use iPatientCare, you're assigned an account manager. You're assigned someone who's there to teach you how to use this and make sure you're using it properly and you know all the bells and whistles. You're not just given the program and expected to learn it on your own. Although that being said, it's pretty easy to utilize, but nonetheless, we want you to be aware of that, as well as there being online training. You'll see an image here on my screen that shows all the articles, or a list of articles we have, knowledge-based articles on a lot of the things that Holly just demonstrated for you, as well as videos for you to watch. So there's a tremendous amount of training to make it really easy for you to implement this. And ultimately, we know that at the end of the day, that if anybody's going to use any of these products, they're going to want to see a demo of this. So when it comes to it, let me just share with you before I get to the demo, really the benefits of why you want to use these together. You save time with auto posting when you're using an integrated product. So if you're using iPatientCare and not Cash Practice, most likely what you're having to do is manually post those payments into the application. Whereas when you now add Cash Practice to it, it'll automatically post those payments. You're also able to deposit any insurance money that you receive by credit card. Many of you who process insurance, when you receive reimbursement, you're actually sent a credit card to process those, to collect that money. Well, you can actually run that through Cash Practice and it will automatically post into your iPatientCare records. You could also manage deposits with multiple bank accounts. So some practices, we say they're multiple locations, right? It's a much more complex operation you have. You may have different bank accounts you need to deposit funds to. Well, you can easily do that with Cash Practice by setting up different the different merchant accounts to process your payments. You can go paperless by capturing the electronic signatures. You could store unlimited cards on file and bank accounts as well. Holly showed you demonstration with with credit cards, but you could also do this with patients' bank accounts. You could share billing between family members, which we didn't show you, but when we do a card on file, that card on file could be shared between multiple family members. You can capture a signature on file that gives permission to different family members to use that same card on file. So you not only have the capability of doing it, but again, we have the record keeping to make sure you're compliant with making sure, again, you have the permission to do so. Again, we showed you could split payments between family members so that you have accurate patient ledgers. One thing we didn't mention is a feature called the Auto Card Updater. The Auto Card Updater is a feature of Cash Practice that will automatically update credit cards for you. The bank does this on your behalf. As an example, a patient's credit card gets reported lost or stolen, and they need a new credit card, or it's expired and they need a new credit card. Well, when they get the new credit card from the bank, our system will look that up for you. And if they have a record of it, we will update the billing or that credit card for you on their behalf. So it eliminates you having to ask the patient for an updated credit card. What we've seen in practices that utilize this service is it reduces their decline payments by about 20%. So when you're running lots of credit cards, of course, there's going to be some that decline. And we see across the board about a 20% reduction in declines when utilizing that service. Again, we're making your recurring payments and your one-time payments frictionless by, again, having those signatures on file. And one last thing we didn't even talk about is we have a gift card program in our payment system that lets you increase your referrals. And the other thing that I want to mention is Holly demonstrated for you that portal for collecting payments online. One thing we didn't show you, and that is iPatientCare actually has a portal that patients log into. So their application comes with a portal, patients log into it, and they can access information within there. And when they access that information, they might see they have a bill due or a payment due. When they do, they can click on a button and it'll open up that payment tool that Holly demonstrated for you to make that payment online, and you don't have to ask them for it. And then that payment, once it's collected, would again be automatically posted into your iPatientCare. And it does so much more. And ultimately, when you utilize this stuff, oh, look at my slide going through it twice. When you do this, you ultimately have a decision how you go about doing this, like how you run your practice and how you take care of patients. Really, that's your choice, how you do things. And, if you look back from, you look back, 6 months from now and you're like, man, we're still struggling with our integration. The question is, would you regret not doing this integration per se? And here, at the end of the day, ultimately, you just need to get a demonstration, or that's what you should do. I know if I was in your seat, I'd be going, all right, well, let me get a demo of this. Let me see how this works, particularly in my practice. We'll make it easy for you. We have one page for you to go to. Just simply go to cashpractice.com/IPC for iPatientCare. Go to that landing page. And on that page, there's 2 links. There's one link where you can go to book a demo for Cash Practice. In fact, let me just show you. If I go to that page, this is that landing page. When you go to it, you'll see on the left, there's a place you can click on. That'll let you schedule a demo with our team at Cash Practice to learn more about what we do. And then there's a button right here you can click that will give you opportunity to schedule a demo of iPatientCare. So regardless of who you want to talk to first, do that, talk to that company, see their product, and then we can demonstrate to you the other product if you need to see the demonstration of it. Generally, those of you attending right now, you're probably either an iPatientCare client already and you're interested in seeing Cash Practice, or maybe you're already a Cash Practice client and now you want to learn about iPatientCare. Either way, you can go to this one page, cashpractice.com/IPC, and that'll take you to the page where you can book a demo with either of our companies. Any closing thoughts before we wrap up? Dr. Scott, let me go back to you for a moment and just find out, do you have any closing comments you'd like to make?
I really don't, other than I'm just very grateful for the work that you and Holly, did with the iPatientCare engineers and the team, and just watching Holly go through it is just very impressed.
You're like, man, I want to buy this, right?
I'm very impressed.
I'm ready to sign up. I'm ready to use this. Yeah, it's a great tool. So for those of you watching right now, whether you're watching the live presentation now or you happen to be seeing this on recording, Holly, you want any last parting words for those watching right now, what they should be doing?
Yeah, I just wanted to close with, as one of the team members who gets to work with mutual clients and onboarding their account and helping them train their team on how to create a frictionless payment experience. It really is a game changer. Not only is your practice more profitable because you're not having your team chase down money, you have cards on file, there's recurring payments coming in. So there's consistent revenue coming in. But other than that, your team is much happier because nobody likes chasing down money on your team, right? So when you create this frictionless payment experience in your practice, you have a happier team as well, because it's just going to really streamline and create more efficiencies and allow your team to have more time to do all of the other things that they need to do in the office. And then the other layer to that is patients love this because it is so convenient for them to just show up. Hey, charge my card on file. I'll see you next time. So it's a win-win-win all the way around. So take a look at it. Go to cashpractice.com/IPC and schedule your demo today.
Thanks, everybody. You guys have a great one.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.